Hiya, you're with Matt Schwartz, and you're in my destined hibernation studio. Um, and what we're going to do today is we're going to play a little bit with the computer and try and make a record. See what happens. Okay, so I'm going to load an autoload, um, which everyone should have his own autoload. Let's save it under future music.
What are your kind of talk us through the necessities of your auto load?
Well, I got a few TDM instruments, and I've got a few TDM audio channels, a few direct TDM instruments, and a few direct TDM audio channels. Usually it's all kind of mapped nice. What I did forget to put in my auto load, which I may do now, is every time I do a mix, I save the mix together with the arrangement. I just do a CSX from the desk to the computer, so I store all my mixes with the actual arrangements, which is brilliant, very useful.
So what it means you can dump it onto any desk by systems.
Well, it just means that when I go back to a mix here, all I do is press play, and the desk immediately gets the mix. Everything sets up to whatever. If I've got automation, I record all the automation in MIDI. Yeah, using automation by simply on the desk is, it's old school. It's just not.
Have you never thought about a proper control, such like a Mackie control?
No, no. I like faders. And I like the fact that I've got a little bit of functionality on the desk. If I want a little bit extra effects or some extra compressors that are not, it comes in quite handy. It does at times. Though I wish Yamaha would have added the duck function on the Auto R96, because they used to have it on the old Auto R, and they don't have it anymore. They haven't got a key, sidechain for the compressor on the Auto R96. Can you believe it? They tried to bribe.
Use this sidechaining anyway.
Sorry, yeah, we use it. Too old school. Okay, let's go to the Minimoog. Which we all know is very nice. And we can go to something newer. So okay, so let's be really basic and get rid of all the oscillators, leave just one oscillator. It already sounds better. Okay, what I'm going to do with the kick now, because all my soft synths are in direct TDM, because I work with TDM system with Pro Tools. Then future music kick. Then I need to actually create a trigger kick or kick trigger for to sidechain stuff on the direct TDM inside Logic. The reason why I do that is because I don't actually like using the TDM kick on stuff that comes out of the ESP bridge, because I find there's a timing problem, there's a delay, and that really affects the timing of stuff that goes out of it. I'd rather, if I trigger something or do functions, I'd rather keep it either inside the TDM or inside the direct TDM. I don't like to kind of mix both in the face. Well, sometimes I do, but not when it's to do with triggering. So now gonna have a kick. We can duck our bass with a kick, which is great news. Now, fortunately, Logic have improved their compressors in Logic 8, and my favorite kind of settings these days in the circuit type is Class AU. Don't ask me what it is, but it's I found that it does the sidechaining a lot nicer. So let's see. Okay, we shouldn't really hear that kick. Turn it down. Okay, that was really good. So, even though I didn't record it, well, I've got something called capture, which, if you didn't know, exists in Logic, and I'm going to capture it. That's the beauty of not knowing what you're doing.
So what's the function there to use capture?
I've set it up on Shift Return. You can go to your key commands in Logic and find capture. Tap capture, and you're going to see.
You never lose a little idea or a
I never lose a MIDI take. You know, obviously, if you record audio and you haven't done it, you can capture as much as you like, but it's still going to only stay in that in your mind. But for all the MIDI stuff, you don't need to record really in Logic. As soon as you play it in, Logic already records it. All you need to do is capture it afterwards. So where was that? That was quite exciting. Just fixing the end of the bassline so it's all kind of syncs nicely. Okay, what I've done with the, just if anybody's wondering, what I've done with the Minimoog, the cutoff is full, is open, and the resonance, or here they call it emphasis, is 0. Which is kind of non-existent. I've turned off all the oscillators except the first oscillator, which I've used a square wave to create that sound. We like that. Then I can also do. I've got this. One of my favorite plugins is you know, the Camel Space, which we know, you know, Camel Space is brilliant. I can, and I've got a couple of settings here that I've made, a couple of grooves that I've got that I kind of keep returning to and creating grooves with it. So this is one of them. And it's quite cool, a bit funky, but that changed a little bit. actually don't like that camo space, so I'm gonna take it off. Okay, this, I don't know if you've seen this. Have you seen the ABL2 before? It's brilliant. I like it. It's the closest emulation to 303 that I've seen. If there's anything else out there, then, you know, let me know, please. Except the real thing, which I've got in my mate's studio whenever I need it. It's pretty easy to program.
You've got Natives Massive there. How are you finding that?
It's brilliant. Well, yeah, but it's gonna that sound, if you want that famous electro sound, which has been caned now, which is unfortunate. There's a few sounds which I'm gonna show you. This one is the ARP 2600, which got a sound. You know, if you want that dead mouse kind of sound, it's the first sound there. There you go. Usually works. The drill, I'm gonna show you how I've done the drill as well. It's quite cool. A lot simpler than what everybody thinks. But check this out. Isn't that just a cool sound? It's all the electro sound.
Preset in Massive that you were tweaking there, or is that something you've created?
It's a preset.
What's it called?
Eat your heart out, D. Ramirez. Only joking. It's actually a preset. It's called Edit. That's the only reason why about that plugin. It's kind of. Where is the name of it? It's called Edition. That was a variation I've done of it, but really that's the original. Which is the same. Not much of a variation, but yeah, you know, just play with it. So. You can play with it, you can do a lot of stuff, but you know, you've all heard this before, so let's try and do something that you haven't heard. With the Massive. It's great. Very fat sounding synth, the Massive. Actually, my friend James Reynolds introduced me to this, to the Massive. That's the one I was working on. Okay. So I'm trying to build a quick pattern, see if it's going to work. A quick pattern on the 3-3 here. Shame Rebirth doesn't work anymore on OS X, does it? No, can't. Let's see if that's going to take us anywhere. So let me now add a little snare. There's lots of snares that we like. I'm going to my EXS bank again. I do a lot of stuff on the EXS, as you can see.
Have you always used Logic? Like Synths?
I started off with Creator, Notator, Cubase, and then moved to Logic in kind of mid to late 90s. After I moved to Mac, I moved to Logic because it was then Imagic, which was brilliant. And you know, when Apple took over, I was really worried that you know, people aren't going to give you enough attention. We're going to have lots of bugs, and I was right. No, it's okay. It's brilliant. The new Logic is great. It just needs a few tweaks. They still got a few problems. The most important one that I haven't solved, and if I can complain now, is the PDC, the plug-in delay compensation for third parties, like TDM stuff. Get it together, guys. We need 21st century. Okay, that's it. Enough moaning. I'm not gonna moan. I'm happy. So, what I want to do is snare. And the snare be from, yeah, anything interesting here? You know when a bank is going to be bad as soon as the first sound is not right. So let's try another bank. Okay, yeah. Let's do two snares. It's nice and fat. Let me add another snare bank. So I'm going to layer two snares together to create a certain sound. That could be useful together. I'm going to put them both from the same output and make sure what I'm gonna do now. I'm gonna grab the guitar and record something in with the guitar. So let's see what's gonna happen. Okay, so now I'm gonna attempt to play guitar. So I'm gonna just record here, and what we're doing is we're actually recording a 24-bit 96, which is great. That's we're gonna get a much better and bigger sound than everybody else. Yeah. So we're gonna place a folder, and I'm using. Yeah, I'm with the guitar. I'm going to my Quartet 2, which is probably the best pre on earth at this moment of time. It's I've done a shootout between the Quartet, all the Chandler stuff, all the Neve stuff, and it just won hands down. It just sounded the best, and I wish they'd give me another one for free. Now that I'm plugging it like that shamelessly, I think it's probably the best pre I've ever used, I must say. It's very flexible. It always performs, always, every single time. Never had one problem with it, except this one time that I had a cleaner in the studio, and I used to love orange juice. And one time I just left a glass of orange juice here. And anyway, one day after my cleaner cleaned my whole studio, I come, I turn the Quartet on, I'm about to record some vocal, and I smell this funny thing. There's a funny smell in the room, and I'm like, what's going on? And there's no smoke coming out of the Quartet. I'm like, oh no, what happened? So anyway, I kind of send it back to get fixed, and the guys called me and said, Matt, you spilled something in your Quartet. I'm like, what? What do you mean spilled something? How can you spill it? It's inside the rack. But what happens here at the top, you can't see this. It's got a little gap, and my cleaner dropped. After that, I've blamed everybody. I said someone taking it out of my room and used it without permission. And then I asked my cleaner, did you actually spill something in there? And she said, yes, but I cleaned it on the outside, it's okay. Obviously she didn't realize these ventilation holes at the top, and orange juice has been spilled on the whole circuitry, and I look like a complete idiot because they thought I kind of spilled on it. So there you go. There's only one hiccup I had with the Quartet. It's a boring story. Let's see if we can make it slightly more interesting with the guitar. Very nice guitar. It's a Strat 1964, which Anita, a good friend, gave me. We're not going to play nice chords. We may not play anything, but... Okay, enough messing around. You see, you don't have to be a great player, but let's play one more thing on it, just for a laugh. Not sure we have it. We're probably not going to use guitar, but. Now let's go to the pick part and find something interesting with the pick. Put it out of 3014. So I like this one and I like this one. Let's put a little bit of EQ on it. So one of my favorite lately is those APIs, the Waves APIs. They're very nice. And I'm going to put a little limiter at the end. Which one should we use? L1. Just because everybody hates it. I love it. Sound weird and out of time, but I can assure you that it is not. And now I'm gonna put a friendly kick as a trigger on the guitar, and let's see if it works. Actually, I didn't want to put in the TDM. I wanted to take direct TDM. It's okay, let's play with this in the meantime. One well, but let's try and add a little bit of delay on it, make it even more messy. So Echo Boy, one of my favorite, it's probably the best delay. Echo Boy by Soundtoys is the best delay for Pro Tools, without a shadow of a doubt. I haven't come across any other delay that's as good as that, and I've got a few. I'm gonna sort the feedback so it's not too much. And should really sort that time on the guitar. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna be a little bit cheeky and do like that. I'm gonna merge the guitar, and then I'm gonna go inside Logic. And although I should really do it by hand, let's utilize Logic's quantize engine. So we'll do it straight to 16, and we can see all the peaks. Drums mid, no, we're doing guitar picked. No, you know what? It looks better. Drum picks, drum mid. Yeah, that looks better.
So you're just using trial and error there, or any different algorithms to.
Yeah, for some reason on the guitar pick, the algorithm that seems to me like it's working best is actually the drum algorithm. So I'm gonna process it and let's see what happens. It's nice, but I don't like it. So that was a waste of time. But it happens while you search. Let's say electronic. Okay, Predator. It's quite nice. I quite like this sound. We don't like cheesy arpeggios, so we'll just use it as a single thing. These kind of riffs, I usually like to take the last note of each, on the three of each one of them, and bring it I like to start, you know, when you've got a pattern, it's quite, how can I explain it properly? When I've got a pattern of something playing like that, I usually like to bring the next section of the pattern slightly before the one. It creates a kind of nice feeling of how this
change that sound completely?
Yeah, what I've done is basically I put a beat crusher on it. I'll go backwards. Let me take everything off it. So that was the original, which sounds quite nice, and it's got a little bit of a cut-off. And it's the original sound from the Predator, which called IQ-DJ. Okay, so that's the riff I played with it. Now I've added a little bit of beat crusher just to crush it a little bit, and it does it up a little bit. Now I added a little bit of a phaser in Logic, which my favorite settings, which I always use on Deepest Blue, for example, is in the order I always go for 9. It's got a nice kind of movement on it in the Logic phaser. Then I compress it. Just I don't like when the phaser is on something. It usually goes down in volume a little bit, and I don't like to go down in volume, so I put a kind of a Logic compressor on it just to squash it a little bit. I haven't even started using my Outboard, but and then I've added another compressor on top of it, but this time is to be sidechained with the kick, and then the result is this. Plus the cutoff. I want the cutoff, so it's like that. And that was the original sound, which is not bad, but it's slightly trancy, and we don't want that. So let's turn it into an Electro dirt. It's a bit of what the name, those digitalism, isn't it? Slightly. Eat your art out. Okay, we obviously know about Dead Mouse. Now, obviously that's not exactly record and all pretty much all the other stuff that he does. Well, not really. Pretty much is based around this model. Correct me if I'm wrong. Mr. Zimmerman. His name is Joe Zimmerman, which is he's Canadian. He's young and ruthless, and he's taken the dance scene by storm last year. Okay, so that is the plugin that I found that sounds exactly like what he's doing, and you correct me if I'm wrong, if no one knows that yet. And let's mute the original bassline for a moment. And we program a little bit thing to go with that riff. Okay, one of the things that I really like about about Logic's auto filter is the actual the beat sync, and where you trigger. I like to kind of create lots of movement like that. Okay, I've changed the kick a little bit. Sorry, I went with this one. Just sounds quite cool. And after that, because the way it's kind of shaped, it's kind of massive and slightly flabby, but it's got a little bit of punch to it. Afterwards, with the compression, when I put the proper bass compression and EQ, you'll see how it all kind of really locks in.
So you do that a lot, you kind of, because you
Yeah.
know your outboard, you can tell
Yeah. Afterwards.
the later process, yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, we are dealing with sound, so I get it wrong, you know, as much as I get it right. But it's all about a feeling, isn't it? It's one day one kick would make it feel good, and the next day it would just, you know, be just another kick. And you know, it's like chords. You know, one day you play a C, and it's just a C, and the next day you play a C, and it's like, oh my god, it's a C. It's gonna, you know, you can't really control it. It's emotion, isn't it? Yeah, I wanted to try that, a new bass line. Okay. Now the kick, for example, I want to take the kick through my distressor. Sorry, the snare. Okay, so let's listen what the distressor does to it. punch. You can hear that. And the loop, I'm going to take the loop through my favorite tube deck. My favorite and only tube deck. Now you see, I've taken the tube deck. In order to go to the tube deck, I had to use the desk, the converters on the desk. So now I need to go back here and go back to where I send it. Go to the sample delay, and because I set everything on already 100 samples delay, I just take the 100 sample delay off.
You just remove it from the channel that you're using.
Yeah, removing it from the channel that I'm sending, and then the channel that it returns, which is the tube deck, is already got the 100, you know, the signal is sending 100 milliseconds earlier. No, sorry, 100 samples earlier, not 100 milliseconds. And I can get a bit of punch on the loop. Put that on the bus as well, which is one of my friends, Igor. He designed this unit in Israel, and pretty damn sexy. It's like an SSL clone, but it's got special kind of, it's 4 VCAs and all the kind of optimized stuff inside, plus a few color mods that can change the color of the compressor. Very useful. It's quite powerful. It's also got the sidechain that lets the bottom end come through if need be. Today, every compressor manufacturer, hardware compressor manufacturer, should have a sidechain that allows signal to go without affecting the bass. Because today, you know, everybody likes really fat kind of records. You need to have the option to choose whether you want the bass to be compressed or not with inside the sound. It's very important. It's another thing that I don't get. I don't get why compressor people don't do that. And that's basically because most people these days use digital desks, and you've got these latency problems. Why can't compressor manufacturers put a wet, dry knob on the compressor? So instead of setting it to parallel, you can actually do a wet dry on the compressor, just like an effects unit. Do a wet dry, and then you save yourself 2 channels, and you can mix between the compressed signal, the original signal. It's a good idea. Okay. can't probably hear, but you can hear the difference. Yeah, it's
It's aggressive, isn't it?
yeah.